Nice one there from our wordsmith. Let's begin in the nation's capital, Abuja, where a collaboration between the Society of Nigerian Artists and the National Gallery of Arts births this international art fair, which is the second in the series.
The Cyprian Ekwensi Center for Arts and Culture is the venue for the second International Art Fair, a high-profile event which the art community in the nation's capital is always itching to encounter because it's an interesting rendezvous organized by the National Gallery of Arts and the Society for Nigerian Artists.
This is the second International Art Fair, and it's holding at the same venue, all in this year alone. Essentially, the whole reason for this is to actually make attempts to put art in its own right place here in Nigeria. A sort of, say, redefinition of the processes to which you exhibit art, and not just marketing art, but placing it in such a manner that you understand that most definitely this is Nigeria's main, revenue spinner, and then you need to also understand that it is a thing that is historically ours, and it's a belief thing that we all have been working, stressing hard, that we must keep the glory days for the art to keep coming up.
The show is just about artists and visual artists expressing themselves through art and giving us the opportunity to see what their eyes can actually see or what their hands can actually do, but from a different perspective. So they're giving us the world in a different beauty that explains, I think I would say that every work here explains how the artist feels or felt at a particular time, because that's the inspiration to every art that is here.
The show has groups like galleries and associations boxed in different corners of the amphitheater space within the center with their works of art on display to catch the eye of the visitors.
What we have in our own exhibition stand are 10 works from the masters and 6 works from contemporary artists who are also established, and also some are fledgling. So behind me we have names like Susan Wenger on our exhibition, we have names like Murano Yelami, we have names like Bruce Onobrakbeya, and we have names like Tola Wewe, we have names like Ifeanyi Obeita. But the idea behind our own exhibition is to show the influence and the inspiration that older artists, have given and impacted upon the younger generation artists. So what we are doing with our exhibition is to leverage on the role, the significance, and the influence of master artists on established and younger and upper-coming artists. So the idea behind our exhibition is to showcase from our rich pool of collection, and then also to access prospects and also to make sales for our collection.
Well, I think it's definitely a country with a very rich culture. There are lots of artists, young artists prominently, and it's really very rich, and there are, from all medias are encompassed, and so it's definitely a very rich culture.
It's an opportunity to either meet the artists, get to interact with the representatives from each group in order to get more insight about the images exhibited, and hopefully that will be enough incentive to woo a potential collector.
I'm a digital artist. I create art using my tablet and different apps on there. And so I have two works that are actually featured here, and I'm here with Kavik. So I have that one down there, which is called and it's French for man. And he's basically the quintessential ideal man in the classical Western world. And the colors you see, it's because we get to color him in, but also he has a lot of things that we don't get to see. It's a question of what is it to be a man and what is it to be an ideal man, and then the things that we don't see that comes with that.
If you look at arts and culture are catalysts for development, and arts and culture are catalysts for tourism. Without arts and culture, what would feed the tourism industry? What would feed the hospitality industry? So if we are looking at a wholesome, sustainable development, we should also focus on the importance of arts and culture and how to enhance its potential to drive, tourism, to create employment and stimulate, revenue for the government.
It's not enough that Nigeria in recent time has neglected the art of painting. Before now, we hardly have this. People who actually paint or recreate things like this are on the limelight. We have different ways of developing income, but not art. Art in other Western world has a lot of value, but Nigeria has no value for art and artists, creatives, basically. So it's a good thing that we're actually projecting that outside, that we actually have something like this to actually offer. So
what you're seeing now is because you can see the combinations and then the presence of the U.S. Embassy here today, the Cuban Embassy, and then so many other embassies, Cote d'Ivoire, and then Burkina Faso and the rest, and China are also here. The whole thing is that they have seen now what is happening, and they're beginning to accept that yes, it's a thing that they, will be so very worthy of their own participation. So, and that is what they're doing. That is what you just heard from the inside now.
This is the second collaboration between the National Gallery of Art and Society of Nigerian Artists for this particular art fair, which comes after the success of the maiden edition.